Alright, so in these exercises, you'll be multiplying, and they even tell you right here on Khan Academy, but you'll be multiplying expressions in the form x plus b times x minus b, right, where this is x plus and then x minus the same term, and then where you have x plus b times itself, which they're referring to as x plus b squared, and then they have x minus b times x minus b, which is x minus b squared. So your strategy in all of these cases is essentially going to be the same, right? And there are several takes on this, but let's look at this example as a starter. X plus 5 times x minus 7. My take on this is that you have one set of parentheses here with two terms inside, and then a second set, change the color, I'll leave it yellow, a second set of parentheses here with two other terms. So my goal is in some order to multiply the two terms here by the two terms here, and I want to get every combination. So for me, the way I look at it is first I look in the first set of parentheses and I say my first term is x. So I'm going to multiply x by both the x here and this term, which I'll think of as negative 7. So that means what? I'll do x times x, and then I'll do x times negative 7, right? Now I'm going to add all of these terms together. And the reason for that is that you can think of this as the splitting up of area. So here, if I had, you can think of this, we'll just talk about positive for a moment, it'll be a little bit easier. If this length is x plus 5, and that this length is, let's say, x plus 7, we could treat it negative here as negative distance, but I'm going to leave it as positive as well, just to make it easier to visualize. Then what happens? Well, x is some length, perhaps here, right? So that's how far x is. And then that means that this little chunk right here would be 7, and this chunk should be 5, right? So here we have a rectangle split in different pieces. So every time we multiply terms, right, we're really finding a different part of the rectangle. So x times x would be the area of this piece right here, because x times x gives you an area of x times x, or x squared. Then we have x times negative 7. Here we have x times 7. That would be x times 7, or this area right here. Right, so we add the areas, of course we're trying to find the total area. Then 5 times x, this is an x, 5 times x, and then 5 times 7, that's this piece right here. So we have these four areas and we're finding them. We want to add them all together in the end because we want to find the total area. Alright, so with that in mind, what's next? Well, we multiplied x by both terms here. Now let's multiply 5 by both terms to get all four rectangles or all four combinations depending on how you're looking at it. So we're going to add 5 times x, and then we're going to add 5 times negative 7. And now here, 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. Here, x times negative 7, that's negative 7x. We have a plus 5x. And then x times x is x squared. So in all of these, your next step will be to simplify at this point. So the sum of these two terms here is negative 2x, then minus 35, and then just put the x squared in. And this is our simplest form, right? Where you have something squared plus or minus a number times x plus or minus some number. As your guideline, that'll always work, and they refer to this term usually as the c term, some constant, this as bx, some number times x, and here you can get ax squared, in other words, some number times x squared. But you'll only get a number here if your form had some number here to begin with, right? And if it's just x and x, you'll know the only number here would always be 1, which we don't typically write. We just write x squared. Alright, hope that helped.